This is Flo Rogan, and this is The Art of Rhyming, episode 38. What an episode. We got Vega7 back. We last spoke 2 months ago. Epic chop up, part 1. This is part 2. We're going to go through his latest 2 releases, Kawasaki Killers and Shadow Runner. And we got a special guest as well, Body Bag Ben. What an episode it's going to be. Going to invite them on the live now. Stand by. There we go. They're both invited. Vega's in the house. We got Vega7, the Modib fan page. Bone Church Tiff. Peace. Whoa. Now who's masked? Wow.
My God.
Now we're talking about upping the ante, man.
Yeah.
Ben, wow.
I'm the Ronin now. I'm the Ronin.
My God, Ben ran the target right quick, picked it up.
I might have to get you guys to battle rap right now. I don't know if that's possible.
I say, yeah.
Dope, man.
Island boy.
Oh, nice.
We're going to talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah. We got a packed agenda. I don't know if we have time for that, but yeah.
Let's get it.
Thanks for joining, guys, man. It's awesome. And Body Bag, thanks for joining last minute, man. Highly appreciate it.
All good, bro.
Yeah, man. So, Vega, it feels like we chopped up like 2 months ago. It was a crazy 3 hours.
Oh, yeah.
I think like 20 people stayed till the end, man, which I was personally shocked, but it was awesome, man. It was a classic, I think.
That's how you know that's the core support base right there, man. Yeah. They stuck around for the whole joint. So
yeah, absolutely. Man. So with you dropping your 2 latest projects, Kawasaki Killers, produced by Body Bag Ben, and a Shadow Runner with a plethora of talented producers, man. Great time to chop up again, man. You're dropping heaters, so yeah, man.
Yeah, it's a blessing, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man. So how's the response been for Shadow Runners? We're gonna get into the project after Body Bag departs. I won't hold them, but just want to ask you how's the response been since you dropped it?
Crazy, you know what I'm saying? Crazy. Like we gonna get into that though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Let's get into this Kawasaki with the veteran, man.
Yeah, let's do that, man. So you guys dropped Kawasaki Killers. I believe the vinyl was with Fuck Rap, and then CDs were Bars Over BS. Is that right?
Yep.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Nice. So how was the response on that one? How would you guys call it?
Crazy, man. I mean, I can let Ben take it away, but yeah, man, it's been crazy, man.
Yeah.
You know, that's a whole other thing as far as like, you know, it was a build up to that. Oh, yo, real quick. First of all, y'all can hear me good? Like the audio quality good?
Yeah. How's my audio? Am I okay?
Yeah. Y'all good.
Nice.
Yeah, I hear y'all clear. All right, so cool. So yeah, man. You know, a lot of people was like, yo, we want Vega on more drums, you know, because obviously I do a lot of drumless music, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of people have been requesting it. Basically since my debut, you know what I'm saying? People was like, yo, we want to hear this guy on more drums, want to hear him on more drums. You know, I'm sure there's probably people out there who probably thought I couldn't rap on drums or something like that for whatever reason, you know what I'm saying? But but that's I'm gonna get into that. But the whole thing with like me and Ben as far like this was a minute in the making. Like we were supposed to Ben link for it. Ben tapped in dumb early, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
I was gonna ask how early, like when did you find out about Vega, Ben? Like how early are we talking?
Years, I don't know. I'd have to go back and look, but it was a while.
Yeah.
In fact.
Yeah. What was it prior to the Barzap challenge, or is that kind of when you got on your radar?
I think it might have been around the same, around the same time, something like that.
Yeah.
He hadn't even. I don't even think you had put out. What's the first one you did? The lead. Yeah. I don't even think he put that one out yet.
Yeah, that wasn't even out.
Yeah.
He because before Barzap, man, like you got to think, like I was super unknown, so I only had like 87 followers or something.
Yeah.
Like that. So like nobody.
Remember you telling me?
Yeah, Ben ain't even have no way of knowing who the fuck I was at that point in time. Yeah.
You know what? It's funny how that happens though, man. you could have guys on here with fucking 87,000 followers. You know what I mean? And it's the shit sucks. I think I'm glad I was able to stumble across your shit, and I think I mean I really don't go in these real deep dives, these rabbit holes to try to find new shit. I mean, I'm usually, I usually got the blinders on, just running my race, bro, doing what I do. And, but every now and again, I'll slow it down, check shit out, look, and tap in, you know what I mean? So once I found Vega stuff, I was like, oh shit, I need to find more of this shit. You know what I mean? And there wasn't a whole lot, you know what I mean? There's like some singles, some verses, some of this, some of that. And everything I heard was dope. I was like, oh shit. All right, man, let me tap in with this dude. And, I mean, that's just basically started like that. And, fast forward years later, Kawasaki Killers, man, that's what you got.
There you have it.
Nice. Yeah, I reached out to Machacha to see if he wanted to jump on later, believe it or not. I wanted to top the last episode.
Right.
He prefers to do it in writing if he's doing it in English. But what he said is he just heard a few freestyles of yours, Vega, and then he reached out to do an album. Your debut album just off freestyles. Does that sound about right?
Oh yeah. And quick shout out too, man. He about to drop something May 8th. I think it's called Kunst Art. You know what I'm saying? Like, pardon the pronunciation, but like, yeah, I already know that's gonna be fire. Machacha's a workhorse, man. Like, Machacha's one of the hardest working producers in this joint, along with cats like Body Bag Band and a few others. You know what I'm saying? But these cats are some of the hardest working dudes in the business. You know what I'm saying? The fact that both of them,
we got a visitor.
The fact that both of them are able to like set aside time to work with me is crazy.
Yeah,
these cats, it's like nonstop working, man. So like,
I peeped the Abyss podcast, and I overheard that you had 45 projects on the go. Is that right? Is that about right?
I don't know, him or me.
You.
Yeah, shit. I don't know. It's I don't know if it's that many, but it's a lot, bro. Yeah. It's probably like real
70.
I don't know, man. Probably realistically probably like 30. Yeah, something like that. Probably like 30.
Got it. So I wanted to, while Body Bag is here, wanted to focus on him for a second. Just to make a Toronto, California connection. Jay Roberts has been on the show a couple of times. I understand you're producing the bulk of his next album, which is a pretty big deal for him. If I got that right. And then I also understand that your first single, again, I got this off the Abyss podcast, was with Danielson back in 2019. So that's like another Toronto connection. Did I hear that right? Or
shout out my man Danielson. It wasn't, you know what, man? I'd have to go back and double check because I had shit out, but I wasn't putting nothing out on streaming. You know what I mean? I was just doing everything like Bandcamp and shit like that. So it was definitely a couple of years before that, and then I finally was like, you know what? I'll just start uploading all this shit and put everything out for streaming. What's the point of making all this music and making all this noise if the masses can't enjoy it, you know what I'm saying? And it just kind of started going crazy from there, bro. And but yeah, it's shout out my man Danielson, and we got a full length coming out. TikTok, he knows TikTok. I've been waiting on this fool to drop his send his shit in, but it's all good, man. I know everyone they're on their own little time strengths and shit like that. So, I'm not really tripping like that. So, but no, this is about my man Vega. You know what I mean?
Hell nah. This about what we came together to do and drop the nuke on the culture. So hell yeah, bro. This is very much about you and what
it's about both. I was gonna get a bit into your backstory if you're cool with that. Unless you want me to focus on your project at Vega, but
it's good, man. I'm here. You know what I mean? Let's whatever you want to do, bro.
I'm gonna say something right quick, man. Yo, not to toot my own horn, but the fact that I'm able to get Body Bag Band to hop to, you know what I'm saying, at 10 p.m. or whatever, 7 p.m. his time, but to hop on here and chop it up with us is like, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
You're my boy, man. Hey, I
hey,
don't do it
salute,
for
bro.
everyone, man. I only
Salute,
fuck
brother.
with the select few, man.
Yes,
And
sir.
you're,
Wow.
you already know you're my guy, bro. So we're
So,
good.
Likewise.
so I feel super honored then. So it's 7 p.m. about your time in California. Have you always lived in California, or
Yeah,
have you moved around or not?
my whole life. No, I'm right here, Oxnard, born and raised.
Yeah,
Um, I've bounced around a little bit for like work and shit like that, but I've always found my way home, bro. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Always
yeah,
found my way.
yeah. Did you live in like the same city, or you moved around a
Nah,
bit at all?
I lived on the East Coast for like 2 years up in like Virginia and the DMV area.
Right.
And then I moved to and then I lived in like Texas and shit for a couple
Gotcha.
years. Um, interesting area. You know what I mean? There's, don't get me wrong, man. I like Texas. A lot of shit to do. I mean, just the amount of just the vastness of it is kind of mind blowing. Like
Yeah.
you go 20 miles in any direction, it's just like, it feels like you're in the middle of nowhere. And then you go
Right.
10 more miles and you're in this big ass city. So that's it was cool, but as far as like tapped in with the shit that we do, and it's not really, it's not
Different.
really, yeah, it's different.
Yeah.
And I got a homie that lives out there in Texas, in Dallas, my homie Casa. He's dope, you know what I mean? I think his style's kind of crazy and shit. He's like definitely, just his own little lane. And it's like sometimes I think, damn, that dude must have it, he must have it hard to try to
Right.
get his shit on, in Texas and shit like that. So, but yeah, man, I've always been right from where I'm at and always found my way back. And
Nice.
we got our own little signature sound out here, bro. Guys like Madlib,
Y-
Kazi, oh no, all the legends from, who paved the way. Um, just set it up for guys like me to come in and just carry the torch and shit. You know what I mean? So
So speaking of signature sound, I've actually been spinning your is it vulgar
Yeah, vocal
display?
display.
yeah,
Yeah, I've
yeah,
been spinning that the last 2 days, bro. Like I never
Bro, I
heard you
was,
rhyme before. You can
yeah,
rap,
yeah.
and I don't mean like just spit bars. Like I actually want to listen to your shit. Like I've been spinning it, man.
I appreciate it.
Um, so how were you MC before producer
Yeah,
or?
I think that kind of happens with most producers, though. I think, what I mean, they find their way into it through rhyming. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
like, I'm a little bit older. You know what I mean? I'm a little bit older guy, so I got into the whole hip hop scene like through the b-boy shit.
wow, yeah,
B-boying, beatboxing, doing graffiti and shit like that. And I had a bunch of homies around me that were all into the same shit.
yeah,
You know what I mean? I'm from a neighborhood where it's like, you're either gonna gangbang, get into like some crazy activities like that, or you're gonna try to do something to stay out of trouble. And at the time, hip hop, b-boying, and that whole thing was like very prevalent. And thank God every day that I was able to stay out of trouble because I had cousins that were fucking gangbangers, uncles,
wow,
friends. You know what I mean? That
yeah,
shit was like around me all day, every day, all the time. And I was just really thankful I was able to find music and find a way to stay out of trouble. And we still got into trouble and shit. Don't get me wrong.
right,
But there was always something about the music and the culture and breakdancing and DJing and all that shit that really kept me on the straight and narrow. And I got into it, and I really just I had older friends that were the dopest MCs that I thought, back then.
yeah,
We'd be at these little parties and shit, little backyard shindigs and whatnot, and motherfuckers be having ciphers, freestyling this, what I mean. And I was always a little bit younger, kind of hanging around on the outskirts and just soaking it up. And I remember I'd go home and I'd just be practicing, bro, just fucking
yeah.
just practicing, man. And I
It,
remember I would just be like on a mission to become a
it,
fucking a dope MC, you
it,
know what I mean? And
if you ask me, it sounds like you've put in 10,000 hours.
man, I appreciate
Uh,
that,
uh,
bro. I really
is
appreciate that. And the
does
funny
that
part,
sound about right or no?
yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
funny part about that is I tell people all the time that I don't rap. I'm not a rapper.
I know. I heard in the bass interview. I'm like, dude, like I
Yeah,
actually like your music. Like you have a cohesive sound,
appreciate
delivery, the spacing, like between your rhymes and shit.
hell yeah.
it's polished, man. So
Appreciate
yeah,
that,
man.
So yeah,
man.
you know, it's just like anything else, bro. You know, you start one thing and you kind of find yourself navigating and find out which, you know, what you're into.
Yeah.
And I started playing instruments at a young age, so that was kind of like the precipice of it, you know what I mean? And just being a hip hop head, playing instruments and just enjoying the whole creative process, man. It was only a matter of time until I really found myself into just being a full-blown, you know, just full-blown producer type shit, you know what I'm saying?
So from what I understand, you had a previous chapter to your career, if that's a fair statement.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, like, where did you leave off, would you say, in terms of your how far you got, if that's a good word to use? Like where did you leave off?
Yeah, you know, so I was in a pretty successful band. We were signed, we toured all over the place, man. We did the whole shit, man. We were making money, putting out albums, doing this, doing that. And had like a cult following and shit. It was kind of crazy, bro. And like I mean, that's what I did for years and years, man. It was very it was lucrative. Everyone was making money. We were successful. We would be going on big tours with big bands. I mean, shit, dude, we did a tour one time with like Slipknot, you know what I mean? And it was crazy. Yeah, like to be able to be on this stage with like 30, 40, 50,000 people out. It was crazy, you know, to go out there and
40,000, wow.
Just wild, big. We played this one show in Mexico City. I swear to God, there probably like 80,000 people there or some crazy shit.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I got a taste of the industry from that perspective. And the funny part about all that is every time we'd get done, you know, be hanging around a bunch of metal dudes and, you know, and I'd be the only motherfucker listening to like Gangstar, Black Moon, you know.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, these guys had no clue. There'd be some that knew, oh, they go, oh, Wu-Tang. Yeah, Wu-Tang, that's cool, but check this shit out. You know, I'm out playing some other shit. And so it's kind of funny because outside of the, you know, the heavy shit, you know, heavy hardcore stuff, I would never really even listen to it. I was always listening to hip hop my whole life, man. And so I think it actually helps me out a little bit because, you know, sometimes what happens when you kind of like just pigeonhole yourself and you only listen to one kind of music and you just got that one kind of single track way of thinking.
Yeah.
I think that really hinders your ability to like add on and build and do more shit. You know what I mean? And I really think, you know, some of the sonics that I bring in and some of the heavier sounds that I bring in, the hardcore music that I used to be, you know, involved with has some part of that, you know what I mean? And I'm able to kind of incorporate it and make that shit sound real heavy, real live, but it's still, you know, it's still a hip hop, you know, dusty record. Shit, you know what I'm saying?
Hip hop draws from everywhere, and you know, hip hop has always had its critics, but it dawned on me that I think hip hop's the most diverse music. You know what I mean? Because it draws from everywhere. At the end of the day, when you look at all the subgenres and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of it comes from like house music too, and like, of course, soul and R&B and, you know, all this other shit. But you know, I listen to all kinds of stuff, bro. And I think if you listen to the music, you could probably get a sense that I'm not just listening to only 50 Cent or only G Unit. Yeah. That's all I listen to is G Unit. You know? Like,
so when did you hang it up? And when you did you let go of like listening to new hip hop or following new music, or were you always tapped in, like up to the point of getting back in the game, so to speak?
I think for a while there, I kind of lost my way a little bit. I think we all do at one fashion or another. We all kind of go down a path and just don't really know where it's going to go, and you're not really sure how you're going to get back and whatever else. I'd say for like a good shit, man, probably for like 5 years, 6 years, nothing. I didn't make any beats. I didn't write any lyrics. I didn't do shit. I had all the equipment. I had a studio. I had everything. That shit was just collecting dust, dog. You know what I mean? Like literally, I'd have to go over to the shit every couple months and wipe all the shit off so it wasn't a fire hazard and shit. You know what I
mean? Yeah. Were you checking for new music though, like staying tapped in at all? Or you just kind of let go?
I don't know, man. I just kind of like just didn't give a fuck. You know what I mean? I just living my life, bro, and I just was like wilding out a little bit. And This is when I was living out in Texas and shit. You know, single guy, just working.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just trying to get by, bro. You know what I mean? Just like didn't really care. Just like living for the weekend type shit.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? You lose track of time, bro, and you start realizing like what actually genuinely motivates you, what makes you happy, and like what you actually need, you know, to have this like fulfilled life, bro. And I didn't realize that music was such a big part of that. You know what I mean? I thought it was just something that I do whenever I want to do it.
It's interesting at 42 that I landed on this as my outlet for music, which is communicating with dope underground artists. I never thought I'd be doing this, talking to people for hours on IG Live, but yeah, it scratches that itch for me. You know what I'm saying?
No, I feel you, bro.
It's interesting.
No, it's just funny how, I mean, we all got to figure out, you know, what it is we need to do to get there. You know what I mean? And I know happiness is it's a state of mind, but that is what motivates me, bro. Like, if I'm not happy doing something, I'm not going to do it anymore, because I realized something to me, bro, that, you know, you got to enjoy it. You know, if you could turn anything into work. Like me and Vega, we could have turned making this album into work, and it could have been stressful. And then the result could have not been what it was. You know what I mean? And
as soon as this platform turns into a game of like getting ahead, I'm done, bro. I'm fucking done. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
As soon as it's not fun, so
that's my mantra, man. Once shit start feeling too much like work, man, I don't give a fuck how successful. I don't care what the traction is like. I don't care what the reception is like. I'm done. You know what I'm saying? So,
could be, man. That's could be. And that's how this shit was getting for me for a little while. You know, I was taking on bigger projects, you know, working with, you know, legends, bigger artists, man. Fuck all that shit. You know what I mean? Sometimes these fools, you know, I'm not going to air anybody out or say anything, but you know what I mean? Like, I think the biggest thing that I'll say, bro, is if I'm not a genuine fan of that person, if I'm not into that person's music and want to push that, you know what I mean, and be a part of that, I'm not really interested in working with everybody. You know what I mean? That's not really.
Yeah. Well, I guard my energy these days, man. At this 40 something, man, I realize, man, you know, I can't invest in everyone.
I'm
so you know what I'm
closer
saying?
to you. I'm closer to your age, bro. So trust me, I know, man. I know.
So I actually, you know, of course, I like dropping gems on this show for upcoming artists. In this digital world, like, how do you get a read on people, whether they're worth investing or spending your time on or working with? Like, are there any signs whether someone is better to avoid or like, or
you got to do
working
this.
with?
You got to do this. You got to talk to them. You got to tap in with them. You know what I mean? If someone could have this glowing presence online, like their whole shit's together and their shit's popping and da. Get on the phone with that person. Talk to them.
Yeah.
You'll be able to get a sense of that, who that person really is, and if you want to be attached to that person. Because I've made that mistake a bunch of times where I'm like, oh man, this is going to be dope. This is going to be a good look for me. And I end up walking away from the situation like, fuck, man, I wish I would never fucking done that. I wish I never would have got involved with that person. And I felt like a little, you know, like a chink was left in the armor, you know what I mean, afterwards. And you know, it's all learning experiences. It's growing pains. You know, you got to figure out, you know, it just is what it is, bro. You know.
And when you're a one-man operation, like I do this myself, it's draining when that happens too. You're like, yo, I'm trying to have fun here, and like, what the fuck is this? I don't know if you relate to that.
No, I do, man, and that's why what I've done in the past, where, you know, I don't mind, you know, making beats for people and selling beats, and they could use it and do whatever they want with it. Those days, if you're listening to me right now, if you're tapped in, those days are fucking over. I ain't never selling shit to nobody. If I don't tap in with you personally, you ain't getting, it's not happening. I'm sorry. I don't got the energy for it. Too many people have made it a fucking headache. And have took the name and took the fucking craft and just drug it through the fucking mud. No, it's over. So you're listening now. I ain't gonna be no.
I'm turning this into a highlight clip so people will hear. I'll post it
Oh,
after.
hell
If you're listening, there ain't gonna be no EP sales, no beat sales. I ain't doing that shit's over, man.
Right. So just to back up a bit, like what would you say pulled you back in, and what did it take to get your name up again? I mean, I guess you're going from a metal band to a hip hop producer, but like, what did it take you to get your credibility up coming back to the game?
So it's funny. I mention this all the time, and it's true. It's a true story. When I left Texas and the South and all that, and I came back home, working, just living my life. And shout out my man Rusty. It's my man. This is one of my homies I used to work with in Dallas. He popped in. I was kind of going down the same path, bro. Just like working, didn't really care. And what's the shitty part is I lost all my studio equipment. My car got towed one time, and then when I went to go get the car, they jacked all the equipment out of the back, and this shit was a fucking wrap. And shit was heartbreaking, super heartbreaking. And so I just kind of was like, fuck it, that's a sign. I shouldn't be doing this shit no more. It's over. It's a wrap. The universe has spoken.
Right.
Just kind of carrying on, living my life. And then I met my wife. I met her out one night, and we just hit it off. And fast forward, a year maybe down the road, and I remember I think she was asking me the same question. She was like, "Didn't you used to do music?" Or I brought it up. Somehow the conversation came up, and she was like, "Why don't you do it again?"
Yeah.
And just like a light bulb went off. I was like, you're right. Maybe I should just give it another shot and just do it for fun. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like this time, it's really just I'm gonna be in my room making beats for myself and fuck everything else.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it just kind of started snowballing again, bro. I started making shit, and I was like, this is pretty dope. You know what I mean? And I just had found out about like Ito and Danielson and Rome Streets and all these guys like 8 years ago, and that I just kind of started reaching out on the humble tip, and Ito and Danielson and Rome, they all were cool, man. They all were about it, you know what I mean? And this is when you could tap in with Rome and get a verse for fucking, $100 and shit. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And those days are obviously over, but this is when these guys were still not even on the verge yet. They were still like super duper underground and whatever else. And so that's kind of how it started, man. I just kind of started, sticking my toes back in the water, bro. And, here we are, man.
Here we are.
Yeah, bro. It's kind of just kept the foot on the gas and just kept going.
Real quick, shout out that the album with Ito, man, Integrity too. Man, that shit is a masterpiece, man.
Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah.
Haven't peeped it yet. You produced that?
Yeah, I produced both of them. So we got two, volume 1, volume 2.
That's produced and written.
Yeah.
I tell all my guests I'm on an interesting journey where I only listen to the music of the artists I interview.
Sure.
That's it. I go through their whole catalog.
That's dope. That's good then.
So I missed some stuff, but this is what I've chosen.
Bro, it's all good, man. If you're just tapping in, I appreciate you. But you're gonna you're gonna hear some shit. You're gonna be like, all right, now this is one of those, this one of them dudes, man. So you got a nice little plethora of music to listen to. But yeah, no, I produced it, and then I'm rhyming on it too, and then Ito's doing his thing, and it's crazy because it wasn't supposed to happen like that. I was supposed to just produce it, and then we're gonna try to get feature here, feature there, but I didn't want to get it all featured out like that, you know what I mean? And he was like, yo, why don't you just rap on it? And I was like, well, I guess. And then I wrote everything. I wrote like 10 songs in 9 days, and I just recorded everything, sent it back to him. He was like, fuck. Took me a year and a half to do my shit. You took 9 days.
When I hear you rhyme, the word natural comes to mind. He's a natural. Like that's how you sound to me, man, and that's evidence if you wrote that much in 9 days.
I'm gonna tell you something right now, man. This man right here sitting in that chair, bro. This dude, in all the years I've been listening to music from all different genres, this guy right here has got something unique. He's got something that I've never heard before personally.
Yeah.
I've listened to a lot of MCs, bro. Like I put this dude up there with like the craziest MCs of all time to me. Like, you got like Chino XL.
Yeah.
You got these guys that were just like groundbreaking shit. You know what I mean? Like these guys were like ahead of their time, ahead of the curve. And I feel like Vega, he's up there with like that type of level of MC where, you know, you gotta really, I mean, don't get me wrong, like to be in the shit that we're in right now, there's a lot of, I mean, everyone's a fucking great white shark, bro. Like everybody is like coming with something and they got their own little thing. And but to be able to be like the apex predator and amongst all of that, it's that's natural.
This is one of my questions. How would you place Vega, being you Berkeley, Chino XL, Planet Asia, Danielson, Rome Streets,
above all,
Cool G Rap,
above all of them, man.
Holy shit, yeah.
And those are all my homies. I literally.
How does that make you feel, Vega? Hearing that from Body Bag.
Man, look, man, I've been working at my craft and chipping away at that shit for like over 20 years, man. So to hear that just lets me know that, like, motherfucker, I got 200,000 hours in the gym, man. I trained my entire life for this, man.
Yeah,
it's just like when you load one of them old kung fu flicks up and shit from the 70s, and they talking about the Tai Chi style. You got to train since 4 years old and bathe in the secret lotions. And,
yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's me, bro. So to hear that lets me know that, like, nigga, that shit wasn't a waste. You know what I mean? And
this is coming from somebody, not to cut you off, Vega.
No, you good, bro.
And this comes from some. I've got the album out with Planet Asia. I got an album with Chino XL. I got an album with Cool G Rap. You know what I mean? I got records with all three of these guys.
Yeah.
I got a record with this guy. It's better.
Holy shit.
Better than all that.
That's fire, man. So look, Body Bag, I've held you longer than I promised you, but I did want to get into the making of the album. Are you still good for time, or?
I'm good, man. Yeah, we're chilling. Yep.
We're good?
Yeah.
Okay, cool, man. So, all right. So yeah, it dawned on me that when I was listening to Kawasaki Killers and refreshing on your catalog, Vega, you've been mostly rapping over drumless, if that's a fair statement. So this album kind of represents getting back to the harder drums. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, that sounds about accurate, man. Hell yeah, Rogan.
We planned it like that.
Yeah,
we planned it like that. I told him, like, you know, I said, don't get me wrong, bro. Like, I love the pockets that you get in with the drumless stuff. Super duper fan of that shit.
Yeah,
and we could do that too. You know, I think in the 1,000+ songs that I got out there, I think I got one drumless song. One.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I told him, I was like, I could do it. You know what I mean? It's just a matter of finding something fly and making it work and whatever else. But we didn't want to do that, bro. You know, we wanted to do it exactly how we planned out to do it, and I'm glad we did. We didn't deviate from the plan. We put it together, stayed the course, and you know what you got.
It definitely. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, hey man, when I wrote on for Kawasaki Killers, man, I tap into a mode for every album, man. You know what I'm saying? I kind of look at it as like method acting and shit. So I kind of try to become the character of whatever the vibe is, if that's, you know, for lack of a better fucking analogy. But like, you know, it's like I'm like, all right, I got this role where, you know what I'm saying, Denzel in Training Day. All right, I gotta be this fucking crooked ass cop named Alonzo and shit. So like, I gotta get to the mindset of what makes this motherfucker tick. So for Kawasaki.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say for Kawasaki Killers, man, like, it was a very short pocket of just rage, man. You know what I'm saying? It was a very much kind of a wrath mindset that I adopted for that project, and I did it in a very short time. A lot of people don't. Nobody really knows. Yo, we did that shit in. Yo, I'm gonna be honest with you. We did damn near the whole album. It was like 10 songs. We did eight of them shits in like a week, man.
Yo, with your level of writing and the way you assemble the bars, you're saying you put it together that quickly. I'm kind of shocked, man.
Yeah. All the beats too. We did everything from scratch, bro.
Yeah,
everything from scratch.
Yeah, Body Bag, yo. I would write a joint, and I'll be like, I finished that shit that day, and I'll be like, I didn't record everything though. I just had it written and finished. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I wrote this shit or whatever, and then I hit up Ben like the next day, and I'm like, yo, send more shit, son. And then Ben is like, yo, Ben is sending like 2 more joints, 3 more joints. another day or two, I'm like, yo, some more shit, son. You know what I'm saying? He's like, he just kept coming with that shit. So
we ended
it
up
was
with more than we
seamless.
actually used. You know, we actually ended up. There's probably like 10 beats left over, but
fact.
Yeah, we narrowed it down to what we thought was good.
So what would you say was the concept of that album? Was it just like a verbal display to showcase Vega's the most fierce MC, or was there a concept that you guys have behind it?
So it wasn't such a deep concept like that. But I mean, one thing is that I kind of wanted to go for a very kind of specific feel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think we accomplished what we set out to do with those 10 songs to contribute to that body of work. Is they're very cohesive. And even though some of the songs obviously it's different instrumentation, right? It's different kind of vibes going on, but the overall feeling that you get from all of the tracks are very much fall under the same umbrella. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But no real super deep fucking poetic concept and no shit like that. But
the funny part is in the middle, it kind of starts to take a turn where you're like, oh, it's going like this Asian route. This
right.
And then psych.
Yep.
Yeah. Psych.
Exactly. Yeah. And that was deliberate too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So one of my favorite sequences, 100,000 hours of writing. I put this hand through practice. Unique physics. Read riches. I'm Mr. Fantastic. Strike this everlast heavy bag and both my hands fractured. Training like a Money Mayweather raised out of Grand Rapids. The devil won't allow damage to happen. Point blank pistol aimed at my skull. The universe jammed the ratchet. That was wild, man. That was dope.
Hello, brother.
Yeah. But I probably butchered it a bit, but yeah.
No.
Your timing was a little off, but you got it.
Like I got this TXT file here I'm reading off of. So what's it like?
My fault. Real quick, that's the same shit where I said I think it diving in the water like a snorkeler, hold my breath for 10 minutes, and come back with Malaysia Airlines flight
recorder. Yeah, man. That was wild. That was wild.
Hey.
Yeah. So we got Body Bag rapping on Scott Summer Shades, which was dope to hear. Then I'm like, shit, Body Bag can rap. And then I went back to Vulgar Display after to peep that, man, which was fire, man. Then you got
you caught the reference though, right?
Which one?
The Scott Summer Shades reference. Why we named it that?
No, I didn't.
So there's a bar on there. Yeah, there's a bar on there where I go. My eyes blaze like coals behind these Scott Summer Shades. My eyes blaze like coals and held the gamma rays.
Nice.
So there's another guy who did like a reaction video or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he goes, yeah, I didn't hear a reference to the song. I go, that's because you probably skipped over my verse, motherfucker.
Right. People got short attention spans, Body Bag. So on Ghost in the Shell, you got Body Bag on the hook. Whose idea was that? Because you don't hear too many hooks on Vega's body of work. Whose idea was that?
I think that was mine. Because I didn't want to get too crazy with the scratches. I did all the cuts on there too.
Yeah.
I wanted to do and for me, I like doing hooks. The shit just comes down to me for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Would you say it's easy?
Well, it comes easy for you. Is that right? Pause.
It's not that easy. But if you listen to once you go back and if you really do listen to the work that I do a lot of hooks, bro. I like that shit. It's fun.
Yeah.
I think it adds a lot of it gives the song a nice break. You know what I mean? It gives it something different. So I think what happened was Vega I think you sent on that one, like a really long verse. And I was like, yo, I want to try to stretch this song out a little bit.
Yeah.
So what I did is I took the verse, I found the most natural spots I could find, and then I broke it into two and then put the hook in the middle, and that's what you got.
It always provides a little relief to the ears, right?
Yeah, you get a little break, man. Give the listeners a chance to like process what the fuck they just heard,
Right.
So Vega, I wanted to ask you, what's your stance on hooks? Like, do you
do you think there'll ever be a time where you'll have a lot of hooks on an album? Like, do you think they're not necessary, or how do you feel about hooks for what you do?
I don't think they're. I mean, I can't really say, man. I don't ever plan to put out an album where every song has a hook, just because it's like, I mean, there's certain joints that I hear though that I'm like, yeah, hook need to go on this shit.
Yeah.
Like it just has, and it's like instant. It's instant.
Yeah.
Like if somebody sends me a pack of beats and I hear like if I'm listening to one of the beats within like 15 to 20 seconds, you know, I'm like, yeah, this shit gonna need a hook on this one. You know what I'm saying?
Look at right out of the gate. Imagine that. That's the hook.
Exactly.
Out right out of the gate.
Right. That's one of them joints. I'm like, nah, I gotta lay hook on this shit. You know what I'm saying? So I can't really say that I'm gonna drop an album where it's like every song got a hook. You know what I mean? But it's like if the vibe calls for it, then it calls for it. But I think, you know, given the fact that like sometimes a lot of the shit that I hop on is kind of minimalistic, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I'm not making Thriller, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like it kind of sometimes I feel like it's cool for me to just kind of like skate over the pocket and like, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes I'll even do what I call like faux hooks, which is like, you know, I might fucking repeat something or some shit like, you know, that I said in the beginning at the end or some shit, but it's not really a true authentic hook. But yeah, man,
like a bridge.
But I'm gonna say this. Right, but I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say I'm about to kind of like deviate into some other subject content and other kind of like shit stylistically for like something that I'm about to do. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's you probably gonna hear more hooks on that shit just naturally, just organically due to the nature of what it is that I'm working on. So yeah, for sure. I think a lot of motherfuckers think I can't do hooks. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, it's always deliberate. Let me just say
You
that.
heard it first.
Yeah,
it's choice to do it or not. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't think you should force anything, and I'm not for or against. Just wondering, like, your stance generally, like what
you heard
about it.
First, is dropping his R&B record, his R&B album.
Oh hell yeah, man!
Nice.
Nice. That's a fact. Yeah.
So we're gonna move on to Shadow Runner if you have the time, Vega. But I always like to give a closing question for all my guests that I think might be interesting for them, tailor made. I know that Body Bag is a family man, so I wanted to ask you if one of your kids came to you at some point. Oh, that's right. Yeah, both of you. But this one's for Body Bag. But you both can answer. Go ahead. So, if one of your kids came to you at some point and said they want to go all in on music, that's their interest, Body Bag, with all your experience in the game, so to speak, are you supporting this decision, or what advice would you give to your kids?
I'll tell them, you know, pack your lunch, pack a lunch. It's going to be a long day. It's going to be a long ass day. There's going to be a lot of ups and downs. You're going to be discouraged. You're going to hate yourself for it sometimes. But the reward, the fulfillment that you get out of it is like, it's unlike anything else. And the main thing is stay out of the fucking graveyard.
Right.
If guys were popping 30 years ago and they ain't popping now, there's a reason for that. Leave those motherfuckers in the graveyard.
Right.
Keep it pushing. Work with dudes that people that you really like, that you really want to invest in, and there's mutual respect there. There's mutual, camaraderie there. That'll save you a lot of headache. It'll save you a lot of money. It'll save you a lot of time. And good luck.
Yeah, there we go.
Fucking lunch.
There we go.
Hold up. Yep, well said, man.
Wise words, man. So Body Bag, that's all I have. I mean, stay on if you like,
perfect.
bro. But
my beer's empty anyway, so
perfect timing.
Vega, love you, bro. Thank you again.
Bro,
You're
love.
Fucking man. Appreciate you. Flo Rogan, right?
Yes.
Flo Rogan.
That's the moniker. Thank you.
Appreciate you, bro. And tap in anytime, man. You know, I'm gonna use this last 5 seconds I got just to shamelessly plug some shit real quick.
Let's do it.
You know, first and foremost, man, much love, much respect to this dude right here, bro. This guy's he's the truth. He's gonna be a fucking legend.
Absolutely.
Honored, privileged to be a part of that. And don't get it twisted. You already know part two's in the making. So we're gonna get into part two. Yeah. Boom. That's the fucking under the head if the
absolutely
point
it still
hits you,
come
the
through
one
the,
on the chin is gonna get you. So we got that. I got a lot of shit coming up, man. I got some big shit coming up, and of course, I got Vega on all of it. So you're gonna be seeing Vega paired up with all the people that I've been fortunate enough to make connects with and make moves with in the business.
That's beautiful.
I'm gonna have him right there every step of the way. Not only because he deserves it, I think it's gonna push everybody to go that much harder. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just gonna say it, man. I got some shit coming out with my boy Kazi, Oh No, Blue. Hopefully, God willing, hopefully Madlib gets involved. Vega's gonna be on that. You know what I mean? Got some shit with my boy UFO Thief, Royal Flush. Thieves on Vega's on that.
Yes,
my boy XP the Marksman got big twins, got big heavy names. Vega's on that. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Come on, man.
I want to do everything I can to make sure that I'm extending those opportunities out to my man, because it's,
thank you, brother.
You know what I'm saying? I think he deserves those looks, and you know what I mean? It'd be dope, and it's gonna be fun to hear it. You know what I mean? So not just for me, not just for him, but for you and for all the listeners and everyone who really loves this shit. Like, we've all sat there and thought, man, if you put Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson, you put all these motherfuckers on this team. That's what I'm trying to do, man. I'm just trying to create these opportunities where you got all these really dope artists together, coming together to put the illest shit out instead of fighting each other. You know what I mean? Because like I said, like the fucked up thing about this industry, this little thing that we do, mad haters, bro. So many hate. They motherfuckers love to hate you. They'll watch your shit. They'll watch you from afar. They'll try to jock your shit, but they won't support it. They won't like it. They won't never say anything positive about you, but they'll try to steal all your shit. And guys like Vega, this dude showed mad love from the jump, and this dude is 1,000% better than any of these motherfuckers I've ever worked with, man. And this guy could have an ego. You know what I'm saying? He could if he wanted to, but he doesn't. You know what I mean?
And it's amazing how humble you are, Vega, despite your skill level, bro. So,
man,
it's an honor that I can chop up with you and shit. So,
man, likewise. It don't
got these
damn
dogs and cats. I got a dog and cat fight going on right now. So, JR Swift in the building.
Hey, salute JR, man. Yes, sir. Man, I mean,
peace, Vega.
Yes, sir.
You guys.
I appreciate you greatly,
peace,
brother.
bro. Thanks for jumping on. Peace.
Yep.
Salute, brother. But yeah, man. I mean, this shit, it don't always map out this way, man. You know what I'm saying? So, and then also, I mean, you could be at the top one day, and then the next fucking day you're not, man. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, people can love you 1 minute, and then you washed up the next minute. So it's kind of just like I just try to stay grounded. You know what I mean? Like I don't really buy into like the extra shit too much. But
yeah, it's like if you get praise, you don't want to let it go to your head.
Nah, absolutely not.
Because if a shitty situation happens, then it's like you're like going from this high to this low, and
absolutely
stay steady,
and then,
right? I'm guessing,
and
right?
Then, you showboat and pop your shit, and then, it's worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it's worse when you fall from grace, so to speak. So I just try to stay grounded, man.
Yeah, man. So wanted to jump into Shadow Runner, man. This album. First of all, I'm honored you sent it to me like in advance, man. Even cared to get my thoughts on it, man. So that was cool.
I respect your opinion, man. Absolutely.
Thank you, man. Thank you. So it feels like you're stepping it up this year in terms of like output, because you were telling me that when you dropped Lead Line Wall, there was like a year and a half between that and Sleep Is the Cousin, but feels like you're stepping it up. Is that a fair assessment? Is there a major adjustment you're doing?
So I think, to be honest with you, man, it's a combination of, just wanting to work more, because, I do want to adopt a more machine-like approach towards the music. But also it's just more opportunities. You know what I mean? More opportunities presenting themselves and don't get it wrong. Like I've had plenty of opportunities before, but it's opportunities kind of like that have been queued that are now bumped up to now, like shit that I didn't do in 2023, for instance, that's now getting pushed into 2024, along with, new shit flooding in. So it's kind of like, yeah, me kind of trying to like knock certain shit out to kind of free up slots for 2025. You know what I mean? So yeah, yeah, part of it's deliberate and part of it's coincidence, man. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, absolutely.
Got it. And I just want to shout out everyone in the chat: Wolverine, Jay Roberts, Lord Owen, Trips, Scumbag, Reek. I'm just sticking to the script for this interview just for time, but thank you all for tapping in.
Yes, sir. Yes,
sir. So here's my goal with this interview. You know, Shadowrunner, you're narrating a story which kind of, we'll get into the description. I apologize, man. I'm losing my bearing here. So much text.
Oh, you good, bro?
Yeah.
Yeah, you good. You good. Take your time. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So my goal is to kind of unpack that album so that people can really geek out to it on another level when playing it back and understand like the full extent of the story. But I wanted to ask, like, how relieving is it that you had a good response to such a creative album? I imagine it would give you some confidence moving forward, but I wanted to ask you.
Well, I mean, you know, the confidence moving forward is interesting because, I mean, none of my albums sound the fucking same. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, Lead Line Wall is different from Sleep. Mount Molded is different from those joints, soundscape wise, and you know what I mean. Same shit with Kawasaki Killers. Same shit with this joint. So it's kind of, I wouldn't say confidence. I mean, if I made the same shit every time out the gate, then I'd be like, oh, they fucking with this. Oh, they gonna fuck with the next 10. They gonna fuck with the next 15. But see, the thing about it is that like the next shit about to be completely different. And then the joint after that is going to be completely different from that. So it's kind of like, you know, I'm not, I wouldn't say, I mean, the confidence just comes from me trusting myself and me trusting my craft and trusting my skill set as far as what I built upon to get to this point. But as far as, look, I never try to predict what people are going to gravitate towards. I did that shit when I first got in the game with Leadline Wall. I remember recording one of the songs on there and being like, yo, when they hear this shit, and that shit got like one of the lowest streamed song on the project. You know what I'm saying? So like after that, it kind of taught me a lesson. And oddly enough, you know, there's certain joints that I do. I'm like, shit, all right, this song, all right. And that be the joint where they like, yo, that all right song you did, oh my God. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really try to predict what people are going to gravitate towards, man. I just kind of release the art and let it do what it does. But I'm thankful as fuck for the reception for Shadowrunner, just based off of the fact that like, hey, yo, this shit was fun. You know, like this was an album that I was like, you know what, man, I'm just going to try to have fun with this shit. I always kind of wanted to do cyberpunk conceptual body of work, and you know, I've always been into the culture of you know, that entire science fiction genre just blew my mind as a kid growing up. So for me to be able to like take these ideas from something that inspired me like growing up and shit like that in my adolescence to now have a body of work musically to represent that inspiration, and then for other motherfuckers to be like, yo, this shit is crazy, come on. You know, I didn't set out to make a masterpiece or no shit like that. I just set out to be like, hey, yo, let's have a blast with this shit. Let's put it together and let's see what happens. You know what I'm saying?
So this was the description of the album you gave me. You said it's spoken from a perspective of a half cyborg mercenary who's contemplating if he should hang his shit up. He's been a killer for hire way too long. At first, the life came naturally to him. He suppressed his emotions and just viewed it as a job. But he's grown weary from all the shit he's seen over the years, and the money isn't enough justification to continue living life. The government after him, other mercs want him dead, gangs, corporate clients gone wrong, you name it. He's tired of running. So if I understand correctly, this project is based on the novel Neuromancer,
yes, sir.
which is like a cornerstone in like cyberpunk culture. How closely is your narration to the book? Does it depart from it, or
it departs from it, because the inspiration for this album came from like several different things from, you know, pop culture and media. Like this shit came from fucking obviously William Gibson's Neuromancer, which as you've spoken to is like kind of like the godfather of this entire genre. You know what I mean? And then you got shit from like movies, man. You got Hackers, you know what I mean? You got fucking Blade Runner, you got Judge Dredd, you know what I'm saying? Fifth Element. list goes on. You know what I'm saying? And then you have books. I mean, you have video games. Excuse me. You have video games, man. You got the title is derived from a video game on Super Nintendo called Shadowrun. You know, and then you got
I remember that.
Yeah, then obviously you got Cyberpunk 2077. And yeah, man. So like and then you got Super Smash TV, which is which is one of the titles on the project, which is another video game. So I just kind of wanted to clear the air on that as far as like, you know, I've seen a lot of comments as far as people thinking this was like just and obviously I don't blame them, I don't knock them, you know what I'm saying? But people were thinking that this was just a Cyberpunk 2077 album, and it's like, you know, yeah, obviously there's much inspiration from that game. But a lot of the slang and the lore has it that is from that video game has existed long before that, from William Gibson's Neuromancer, for instance. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, I drew inspiration from several different things, man, for this album. So yeah.
I feel like your hardcore fans, whatever you rap about, man, just the skill level you do it at, they'd be willing to listen to it. But the fact that you honed in like on a target, probably more so than any other album of yours. I don't know if you'd agree. It's cool to see you channel all that into the story. The crazy thing is it sounds completely different than all your other albums, which is refreshing to me. Did you say you created the intro track itself?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Man. Yeah. So that whole ding 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 shit or whatever. Yeah, man. Like I knew I didn't want to rap on the intro, yo.
Yeah.
Like I knew, like, yo, I don't really this time around. I want to create something a little bit more cinematic to kind of open it up. Something that's kind of would sound like it's a scene from a film or, you know, a game or something like that. So, this was like some spur of the moment shit, man. Where I was just kind of like, you know what, fuck it. I sat down. I have a bunch of synthesizer software. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like old joints. The shit that I have is actually a Arteria Key Lab. You know what I'm saying? So when I bought that shit, Arteria kind of started off as a company that made basically emulators for synthesizers. You know what I'm saying? So you would get a lot of those stock sounds that are on emulators that synthesizers that you don't have access to normally, because these shits are rare as fuck. They from the 80s, some of them from the late 70s. And it's like, good luck if you can even find these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? So the closest you're going to be able to get to recreating some of those sounds is through that software. So I just loaded up a DX7, man. I had a DX7 synthesizer, you know what I'm saying, program. I opened that shit up. And I was just, you know, playing around with some of the sounds or whatever. And I created that riff though, and that doom 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 shit. And then I was like, okay, cool. And then I actually started finding just different sound effects and shit. My whole idea for that was that I wanted to create this scene of like, you know, a shadow runner going in, he's stealing corporate assets or corporate information off of a computer, and then, you know, he has to get the fuck out of there. He sets off the alarm, he gets out of there. He's got the government, he's got security, he's got, you know what I mean, everybody after him, gunning at him. He's running away.
Yeah.
It's a chase. And then, you know what I'm saying? So I wanted to create this by finding some of these sounds and inserting them into key places to kind of create this story or whatever. So
yeah, man. Like, and I'm not familiar with any of the samples or anything like that. So to me, I was completely immersed into the sounds. I didn't know what was sampled, what you created, but the intro pulled me right in. So it's cool to hear that you actually played that. That's dope, man.
I know a lot of people probably thought that was like directly from a movie or a game or something like that, which is dope because it means that, like, you know, I succeeded in what I set out to do for that particular intro. So absolutely.
And I don't know if all your fans know that you produce, if it's common knowledge, but you produced Mod entirely, and I thought that was your most cohesive album, personally, in terms of sound. So
that shit was fun as hell.
Yeah, man. I think one of the other crazy things about this album is you got a host of like talented producers. You got Machacha, I believe it was Wiz Kelly, Bonds, Air Flocko, Oddfather, Wino Willie, Agent Thanos. So you made such a cohesive sound. What was it like getting it together, did you tell them what you wanted or what you were going for, and they were all in on it, or you just were stockpiling their beats?
I mean,
Just curious.
I mean, shout out to Wiz, man. Wiz actually mix and mastered the whole shit. That's my guy, man. You know what I'm saying? He lives like 25 minutes from me or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So I was, man, like Wiz tapped in with me from early on, man. Like on some like a little bit after the tournament, maybe a month, if that, after the tournament. You know what I'm saying? And I started. He inquired about a verse because his father, Khalid Salam, who's also on this project, he was putting together his own project at the time. You know what I'm saying? And he wanted a verse, and that turned into this joint called Smokey James. And so that's how I linked with Wiz. But shout out to him because, like I said, he mixed and mastered the whole thing.
Wow.
He
sounds great.
He put the transitions in key places and shit like that. So he's definitely a major contributor as far as to the cohesion of the album and how everything kind of like flows that way seamlessly. But so some of the producers, I mean, it's different, man. Like with Wiz, he already, like I said, we had already I was talking to him about creating the album. He wanted to be a part of it. He had a couple of beats that were lying around that I selected that I felt kind of fit the aesthetic of what I was trying to do. Because that was a big thing for me making this album. I'm like, all this shit I can't really have any random sounding beats and try to put it together. Everything has to kind of sound like it belongs. It has to sound like some sort of kind of digital, real, you know what I mean? Like 80s kind of B-list movie kind of vibes and shit, you know what I'm saying? Or something sci-fi about it. So like with Wiz, I think it was like, I seen a couple of beats he had. I'm like, hell yeah, all right, we going with these. And then with the others, man, like for instance, my guy Thanos, I hit up Thanos kind of late, like that. He did Ice Bath, and that actually made the cut. That was like the last song I wrote to on there. I was basically damn near done at this point, and then I had let Thanos hear something, and he was like, yo, I definitely want to be a part of this. So I was like, man, that's my bro too. So I'm like, fuck, man, if Thanos want to be a part of this, hell yeah. So he ended up sending something, and then same shit with Flacco, man. You know what I'm saying? Flacco, I knew he produced for a minute. I hit him up, and yeah, basically everybody that I hit up was, they wanted to be a part of this, and I kind of selected certain people that I really was like, yo, I've been a fan of, or I think they got something that can really, fit on this shit. So yeah.
That's amazing. Did you have a hand in selecting the samples or the transitions? I would guess you were hands on, but
so as far as the what do you mean by the samples though? Just
I assume there's samples in these beats, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if
okay.
you heard something and you asked Wino Willie, you know what I mean? Can you chop this up?
Yeah.
Or
No, absolutely not. So I had no I wasn't involved in that part of the creation process. They had already made the beats and just sent them to me, I would select it based off of that. So it just kind of worked out just from me being like, nah, this don't really fit. This shit right here, okay, yeah, let's add it. So
yeah, man. So Jamil honestly saying album is incredible. When I heard that album, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say salute my brother Jamil Honesty. Yeah, man.
When I heard that album, and I told you this, Vega, the words, best storyteller in hip hop came to mind, honestly, because it's interesting. When I heard you rapping certain bars, the word stunning was popping in my head, and I've never had that word pop in my head listening to hip hop, bro. Crazy, you know what I mean? Fire, stunning. Literally, the word popped in my head, bro. You're describing like a water ripple in one of your bars. I'm like, I could fucking see it. You know what I'm saying? So, man.
I was. That's crazy that you said not in hip hop, because I was definitely trying to create something that I felt was could be like a fucking Dark Side of the Moon or something. You know what I'm saying? For this genre, and also putting this shit together, man, is giving the scene that I'm in or the lane that I'm in was kind of risky in the sense of, you know what I'm saying? It's littered with a lot of coke rap, a lot of street shit. And it's there's obviously no shortage of that shit going around. You know what I'm saying? There definitely is a certain sound that I guess you could say, you know, is like the dominant sound within this genre of music as far as the consumer base and shit like that. So it was risky, man, putting something like this together. I felt like I mean, who the fuck knows? They might fuck with it, they might not. You know, it might be too nerdy, it might be too abstract or too left field. So to see the reception that it got
Yeah.
was fucking crazy. You know
Have you ever heard an album like this in hip hop? For the shit I've listened to, I can't recall anything like this or covering cyberpunk culture. Maybe it exists, but have you personally heard anything like this before?
Not for a whole joint. Yeah, hell no. Like I've heard maybe like, you know, a track or something, or a track or two here and there from certain artists. Cyberpunk now, but as far as like just some sort of sci-fi related shit. But as far as a whole cyberpunk album, is like, nah, fuck no. I don't know.
Yeah.
I never heard of any genre of music, I'm be honest with you. Like, I'm sure it's out there, but I haven't come across it.
As a longtime hip hop fan, like, I'm interested in artists that could push the boundaries, man. And that's what you did with this album, man. You could cover the same ground, or you could just push the envelope. You know what I mean? So, storytelling feels like a lost art, and I don't know if you agree with that, but I wanted to ask you, because you're storytelling here, how does that change your writing process? And did it take longer to put this album together? I would guess that it did, but
that's a good ass question, man. Yeah. Shit. I'll be honest. The album really didn't take that long to put together, man. I think it all in all, like all together, like a month. You know what I'm saying? Like some shit like that, like a month. You know what I'm saying? As far as from having the idea to do it, and then to like execution. You know what I'm saying? Was like, so somewhere around there, maybe a month and a half or some shit like that. But most of it was just getting the damn soundscape together and seeing like, what did I want to like. Let's try to get all of that shit together first before we kind of like I didn't want to do it like one piece at a time, kind of, you know what I'm saying? But nah, as far as the writing process, I mean, I spoke about my writing process on here. I believe I did. Correct me if I'm wrong,
absolutely.
But the last time
at length,
I was talking about, where I was in fact, where I was talking about me writing multis. I write my multis first. You know what I'm saying? I have a long wall of text, you know what I'm saying, of just multi-syllables, and then I kind of like bridge them together and Tetris block them together when it comes time to actually like start creating the fucking song, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like that's the most important part, because those to me are the bridges, you know what I mean? Like so for this one, it was a little bit of that, you know what I mean, for certain joints maybe. Like I'm pretty sure on shit, man, maybe something like fucking San Angeles or something like that, or Super Smash TV. I'm sure it was kind of that same process that I'm used to being used for that. But then you got other joints like.
But how do you create a story? But using that process, right? How do you create a linear story?
So
it's different than punchlines, right? Just punchlines.
Yeah. So So with that, the key part to sticking to this whole like theme and this whole story is the shit that I'm filling in the gaps with, not necessarily the multis themselves. You know what I'm saying? So it's how I'm leading from one multi to the other that's going to actually like be the fucking the glue that helps to stick it together to kind of keep the story going. But when I'm doing joints like Night City, that for instance, I didn't use that process. You know what I mean?
Right.
That was me describing this whole kind of dystopian setting and shit like that, and kind of like just describing everything that I see around me. That I didn't use that process for. That was a more traditional, orthodox, linear, like you do one line and you do the next line and you do the next line type shit.
Right.
So yeah, it was a combination of both. You know what I'm saying, for this particular project. But it came together.
I'll just quote a couple bars. A scene of metals and streams with evergreen trees is now a city of metal beams and steel mezzanines, cursed by the image of man's obsession with machines. Some faces replaced with pixels and television screens, mindless in a trance. Hard circuits like the wires in a lamp increased our brain file size was a RAM. Are we better as humans? The more that science is advanced. I thought as I flickered a cig with my cybernetic hand, sounds
Yeah,
of thunder outside as I wait until the sky's clear, stared at the dystopian future image of Times Square. Like, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Shit,
yeah.
I've never heard this done, so
Salute,
that was dope,
brother.
man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was fun as hell. Right in
Yeah,
Nice City was probably the most, that and Ice Bath were the most satisfying when I was done with them.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Those were the most satisfying songs on the album for sure. Like it's one of those joints where you finish the verse and you look and you like, man, okay, yeah, this shit came
yeah,
together how I intended. So that's always a
yeah.
good feeling.
And then,
So
so on Ice Bath, you got Lord Owen, like you got a long verse of narration, and then Lord
yeah,
Owen comes through with his like singing, like grungy singing, and like because there's
right,
no other singing or hooks, like it pops out, like the story
right.
comes to life as a
Hmm.
listener. So I
Yeah.
imagine that's what you were going
Hey,
for, and
yeah,
yeah,
shout out to my brother Lord Owen, man. Like, yo, it's crazy because I felt like Ice Bath was already like, just a crazy joint, even without Lord Owen's
yeah,
contributions to it.
yeah,
Just from the verse that I penned, what I was trying to uh, what I was trying to describe, the emotions that I was trying to describe, and the mindset of this mercenary and him being conflicted and that whole shit. And then here comes Lord Owens, just motherfucker came in and just captured the vibe melodically, man. He basically I captured the vibe with the raps, and he came
description,
in and just translated it into musical notes and harmonies and shit like that. And
feeling,
I remember him laying it down, and he's just like catching the vibe. And when it was done, I was like, "Fuck, man! Like this, this is like some movie score shit, son." You know
yeah,
what it
yeah,
is?
yeah,
So,
yeah,
nah, man, he's talented as fuck, man. And I love that shit, man. Like, a lot of people don't know this shit, but like, what I'm saying, Cudi is like one of my favorite fucking artists, man. Like, you know what I'm
right,
saying? So, um, older Kanye shit, you know what I'm saying? So, those types of vibes, man, on some of those projects with the melodics and shit like that is just like, you know,
yeah,
magnificent.
yeah,
So for him
I-
to be able to provide that was just like, you know, it it
yeah.
made it complete. It made Ice Bath complete.
Adds life to it. So look, I'm the type of person I could watch a movie, and if it's too complicated, I could get lost in the plot. But I thought I'd ask you if you care to. Do you want to illustrate the relationship between some of the characters? Because I think it might be cool to play back the album with a better understanding of the how they're all related. So you got Shadowrunner, who's the main character, right? Um,
Yeah.
mercenary for hire.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
who's Johnny Silverhand?
Okay,
Um,
Johnny Silverhand is so okay, this aspect of it is definitely Cyberpunk 2077 inspired, you know what I'm
okay,
saying?
right.
And Johnny Silverhand, if you play the game, I don't really want to ruin it, man, but like if you play the game,
Okay,
he's damn, I'm trying to think how I could describe it without ruining the shit for people who haven't played it. Uh he's basically someone from the past, right? Who this Shadowrunner actually has like flashbacks of. They have if you want to call them that, right? But they have uh what's referred to as basically like an engram or remnants of this person in their own mind. You know what I'm saying? And these two people kind of fuse and become one. Uh yeah, but I can't really describe too
that's
much
cool.
without like, you know
That's
what I'm
cool.
saying, like messing
Yeah,
it
yeah,
up.
yeah.
'Cause I seen a lot of people. Side note, I seen a lot of people saying that they were gonna get this shit. You know what I'm saying? They were gonna get Cyberpunk 2077 just from listening to the album. And I'm like,
Right.
hey yo, man, CD Project Red, if y'all listening, man, I'm gonna need a check or something, man. Break me off for a little something, bro.
Do
Or
Do you want to describe Jake Armitage and Zero Cool, or is that giving too
yeah,
much
yeah,
away?
yeah. So Jake, I could tell you the inspirations for them for sure. You know what I'm saying? So Jake Armitage was a character in that video game that I mentioned called Shadowrun. You know what I'm saying? So Jake Armitage, the main character in that game, and I just remember playing it as a kid. And when I said rock the fly trench coat like Jake Armitage, there's actually like if you Google this shit, you'll see it. But like he had this like trench coat on, this black trench coat on and shit in the video game. And I always thought it was like cool as hell as a kid. You know what I'm saying? But he's also a shadow runner as well. You know what I'm saying? Oh shit! Pardon. Let this shit back up. Should try to avalanche our shit just now. But yeah, man. Yeah, Jake Armitage is also a shadow runner. You know what I'm saying? In that video game, a mercenary for hire. You know what I'm saying? So and Zero Cool, man, that was from like one of the dopest flicks, man. That was from Hackers. That's a scene. And I remember this scene was crazy as hell when I first seen it as a kid. And you know, it's a courtroom, and you have you know, the woman who's speaking it, and you know, the prosecutor, and she's like, you know, Dade Murphy, and she's like describing this person's crimes, and like apparently was a hacker who like brought down like 1,507 systems or whatever in World Trade Center stocks and crashed the market and all that shit. And then when she's done describing his crimes, man, you come to find out that like the camera pans over and it's like a fucking 8-year-old kid or a 9-year-old kid or some shit like that. So that was definitely inspiration just as far as like watching that movie growing up and being like, damn, this shit is insane. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Dope. So listen, salute on these 2 drops. Thanks for pushing the pen, pushing the culture with what you do, man. And it's cool to be an observer and just keep building with you.
Absolutely.
Anything else you want to let the people tapped in know, and the people that'll tap in later about what's coming?
Yeah, man. Look, man, I got a lot more shit going on this year. We know we not done yet. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to say we nowhere near done, but we not done yet. You know what I'm saying? I got more shit going on. Like I said, we're gonna take a detour away from some of the shit that I do stylistically that y'all kind of know me for up until this point. I'm gonna get into some other stuff. I'm not really. You already grasped that. You know what I'm saying from me that like I don't like doing the same shit constantly over and over and over. So you know what I'm saying. So I'm gonna I like to explore and do different shit. So we gonna experiment, man. We gonna get into some different sounds. We gonna see how y'all feel about it. Maybe y'all fuck with it. Maybe y'all don't. But regardless, we gonna do that motherfucker anyway. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, got a bunch of shit coming up. Check out for it. We're gonna try to get as much shit on physicals as possible. Also, man, yeah, I'm really playing with the idea of getting like these shadow runner. I wanted to do this actually during the creation process. I had this idea, but like I'm thinking about getting is there gonna be a part 2? Yeah, I'm gonna talk about it. But like, yeah, I'm actually thinking about getting these shadow runner like shirts and hoodies and shit like that, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I just want one for myself, to be honest with you. But I want people to. I'm sure there's people out there who probably want one as well, man. So look out for that shit at some point. You know, I'm definitely going to be announcing something as far as the merch and shit like that, the clothing. So also with the part 2, man, like I've been playing around with it. You know, I've been playing
already.
When I first was creating this shit, I already had the idea to do a part 2, kind of when I was like, you know, I was a couple of tracks in, and I realized how much fun I was having putting this shit together. And I was just saying to myself, like, damn, bro, you know, I might fuck around and do a part 2, you know. So that's still up in the air, you know, but I feel like I covered a lot of ground just with this one. I feel like I kind of just, I don't want to say I left no stone unturned, but it's going to be hard to find that unturned stone. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I did a lot with this project, man, and it's pretty dense. I don't feel like there's anything that I really left. You know what I'm saying? But with that said, I had so much fucking fun doing this that I'd be lying if I said that I wouldn't want to do a part 2. So that might be something I might do, man. You know, check out like 2025, man. That shit, you never know. That shit might drop depending on how I feel and my vibe. So, yeah.
Very. Go ahead.
You good actually. You good.
No, just very cool that you've opened this world. You know what I mean? Through lyricism and hip hop, and it's gonna remain open.
Yeah, man.
There's a part 2, man. It's gonna be cool to follow. So
salute, man. I just wanted to have fun. I just wanted to, you know, my goal is to always kind of like just be myself, be unique. You know what I'm saying? And just do whatever the fuck my soul is telling me to do. You know what I mean? I don't really think about like what they want to hear. You know what I mean? Like I don't think about like what the community wants to hear or my supporters want to hear. I don't really think about that during the creation process. It's not until afterwards that I'm like, man, I wonder if they're gonna fuck with it. But as far as throughout the creation process, is always kind of just like, you know, what will be dope to me? What's something that I want to hear that I think is dope? You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
And yo, salute to everybody rocking with me, man. Like I said, I just always want to I kind of want to shatter that whole what we think the underground is supposed to sound like, or you know what's not allowed, or what's
It's
allowed, and
about
shit like
time,
that. You know what
man.
I'm
It's
saying?
about
Like,
time.
yeah, bro. Yeah, it's a lot of the same shit floating around, man. So like, I just kind of want to just add something new to it, breathe new life into it, and make this shit fun, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have more moments like this where I do conceptual stuff. Sometimes I don't do conceptual stuff, but like I said, I appreciate everybody rocking with me, man, because it's like you don't know what the fuck you're gonna get, man. You might get a Kawasaki Killers, you might get a fucking Shadow Runner, you might get a Sleepers the Cousin. You know what I'm saying? You might get a Mount Morning. So let alone more. So like, yeah, man. Salute to everybody fucking with me. Salute to all of the new people too that are tapping it with me off of Kawasaki Killers or off of Shadowrunner, man. Like, I
Yeah.
appreciate y'all for
Go
even
back.
listening now. Yeah, I could be one of these artists out here putting out music and a year later that shit got 6 views. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, thankfully that wasn't in the cards. And the universe told me, like, you know, like, bro, you good. Keep doing what you're doing. And they guided me. So nah, so I'm thankful as fuck, man. I appreciate all of y'all tapping in, man.
Right.
Also, man, I'm sorry about everybody who you know what I'm saying didn't get a physical, man. Who knows? We might repress it, we might not at some point, man. But like, yeah, bro. That's it.
Yeah. Well, either ways, we got the work. We can listen to it. So thank you for that. It's dope that a person of your talent is not shackled down by conventions.
Thank you,
So
brother.
again, you can really push the boundaries. So I'd say keep it up.
Thank you, brother.
And I just want to shout out everyone before we depart. We got San Inc., LEGs, J Roberts, PDX Logan, K3ZO, Tiv Bed, etc., etc. Thank you all for tapping in. Have a great
Hell
night,
yeah.
everyone. Have a great night, Vega.
Appreciate y'all. Yes, sir.
Salute. Peace.
Yeah.